NGOs and media organizations such as the one you're working within can make a difference in making young people resilient to hateful speech and really empower them to be positive actors and peace builders. Over to you, Nelson.
Thank you, Elodie, for and everyone who has shared. In terms of solution, one of the things that we view as a very important component, especially from my leadership perspective, since I kind of like lead a lot of this youth program, is give the youth knowledge, but also the other thing which we encourage NGOs is to place resources and decision-making capabilities in the hands of the youth. Because we realize a lot of the programmatic approach to de-radicalization and engaging with the youth in peaceful transformation at times lack that components of giving youth resources and agency and decision-making. So one of our approaches that we use and we also advocate with our partners is that like after you give the youth the knowledge transfer and you work with them in terms of creating policies and solutions, we encourage, I tell my team to push all the decision making to the peripheries, to the people who are very closest to the point of contact. And in our case, in our program in Defy Hate now, we find that these people are the youth who are engaging in the communities, the youth who are engaging in information sharing, and the youth also who are engaging in policy making. And one of the approaches we do this is through fellowship program, just similar to what my colleague was saying with the ambassador program. At Defy Hate now, we have fellowship programs. And right now we're running 3 fellowship programs. One of it is we call it Act for Peace, which we encourage the youth through micro grants to do small actions. This could be an outreach program at a school. It could be an interreligious dialogue with church leaders and imams. It could be, like in the case of Cameroon, we have young women working on GBV and with survivors of sexual based violence. In South Sudan, we have young people who go into communities and conduct intercommunal dialogues. So usually through these programs, we're able to engage with the youth very meaningfully. We also work with other group of youth through doing fact checking and information verification. So they get rumors and different kind of information that is not verified that is being shared. And they look for the credible sources and then they send this information back to the communities. Having that ability to conduct this level of community-based engagement is very important. So what is the lesson that I drive from this? Usually when we give to government and we give even to international partners, is that like trust the youth. If you want to engage with the youth, trust the youth. Place in them the ability to listen to the youth, give them the ability to engage, empower them with the knowledge, with the tools, with the case studies, with the intergenerational information and tools that they need, and provide them with resources. And that is very, very important. Giving youth the resources gives them the ability to test and to prototype the ideas that they have in their mind. This is something right now we're doing with Facebook. We're working with Facebook to create small community programs. We're doing it with the European Commission. We're also doing it with the United Nations Development Program, as well as with UNESCO and other partners. So I think taking these case studies and taking these ideas and engaging in them in different communal contexts provide the avenues that. The last point is also to ensure that through that pipeline to raise more youth into a leadership program. Like right now, I direct our programs in South Sudan and East Africa. I'm just 29 years old. I think when I get into the age of 30 or 32 or what, I also have to allow more younger breed of leadership to come into this program because they provide an ability to relate with the youth, but also speak to them from a point of understanding and also a point of context, which I think is very, very vital, especially in such a critical leadership position. I'll stop here. There is a lot of links that I will drop into the chat, especially for our programs, our fellowship program, and then our youth engagement program, so that the audience here can have both kind of the ability to engage with them and also probably to reach out to us for any follow-up and stuff like that. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Nelson. And I love what you said about providing young people with the trust, with the real resources, and also with the the capabilities to, to be decision makers. I think this is quite fundamental, and that's how we also started this session. One of the key message we wanted to convey. I will now pass the floor to our next speaker. So, Adina, we'd like you to, you have a very unique perspective, having worked, in prisons and also, in rehabilitation. So can you tell us a bit more about what you see as effective educational programs that can be used to prevent you from engaging into criminal action, and also what's the role of the different actors, the parents, teachers, and others that can help young people in that journey? Over to you.
Okay. Thank you very much for your information. In our prison department setting, uh, early when youth or young boys, young guys, they're sent to the school. We don't call it prison; it's called school. Henry Gurney School in Malaysia. So our work is to make sure that when we accept them inside the prison, inside the school, we want to find out what are the advantages and what is the disadvantages if they been inside the school. Okay, this is very important. So we will set some programs. We have our module. Yeah, we have our own module. We call the youth module, where we place them, we divide them until 4 phases. 4 phases. In phase 1, the youth, they have a lot of awareness program. Where the awareness program is first, we will build their discipline first. Okay, how to build the discipline? So we must send them to school. In the school, in the prison, we have our school where we collaborate with the Ministry of Education. So the teachers all will come inside in the school and teach, not outside. Okay, this is the first. And every student, we will teach them. We will educate them. Okay, we will educate them. So important is education is very, very important. For your information, we have students who somebody now. Okay, because in the school, the most important thing is when they're released, they can apply for government job. That is our law. Okay. Secondly, we have to treat them using the law. Mandela law or United Nations Standard Minimum Rule. That is our service. We must give them service. Okay. So we find out that awareness program is important. From where the awareness will come? So we will give them in phase 1. This we change them from a criminal mind to a stable youth. So where we will discipline them, we will make them involved in education, we will make them involved in sports, we will make them involved everything which make it positive things. Okay, positive things, and make them be and also create them to be a leader. What somebody Nelson was telling, leadership courses, leadership approaches. So we will do the leadership approaches where we will choose 1 or 2 among the youth to control a group, where we will do the group therapy inside the one, inside the they become the leaders in the therapy. They will take care. So we call another one, we call TC, therapeutic community. So they will control their boys. This is an intervention we use to educate these boys. Okay, in phase 1. In phase 2 is self-belief, self-development. Okay, in self-development, we will use a lot of where they will go for religious education, this and that. And also from there, in phase 2, we will bring their parents We will bring the parents where we have the family face to face talking. So we call it family therapy. So family therapy is important. This is so another awareness how much they love the family. Okay, how much the family love them to make them aware. This is the program we use, okay, in this prison setting. And the third is upskilling themselves, where we used to upgrade their skills. Some of them are very good in drawing, art. This one we will build them, we develop them to go. Okay, you do this one, this one. You also can earn money. So inside the school, when they're in the school, they started earning money, as a salary for them. This is another good thing for them to change them, to de-radicalize them before they go out. And also another thing is we will have collaboration with other agency outside, social like social workers. Okay, what are they going to do when these people released? Okay, the NGOs, non-governmental organization, what are you going to do with these people when they are released? Okay, this is some we create a lot of things with outsiders community. For example, the leader of a village, we will call the leaders of the village, come and talk with your boys. You see, this boy came from your village. What are you going to do when he's released? So this is how we cooperation, or we said a simple thing, communication. Communication is very important. Education is very important. So, for example, we have some boys now. They are doing their PhD holders. They are doing the masters now. Okay, after release from the prison or from the school. So this is how we educate them. So in phase 3, we used to have vocational trainings. In phase 4, we allowed them to go outside. You see, we allow them to go outside the prison and mix with the community. We will give them 2 weeks holiday. Yeah? Go and mix. See people, how to communicate with people. Okay. This is very important. This is the setting of prison. A lot of things to talk, but time limit. Okay, a lot of things to talk about prison. So how we change them, rehab them. So most of them, some of them are now somebody inside the prison. Not in the prison. Somebody in the government servant, as a government servant in a private sectors. So this is the module we use. So we call the use module to tackle this one. We have 4 phases: phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and phase 4. Phase 4 is where they can go out and find jobs. Now the latest one, we have a collaboration with all the companies, and the companies create what people say association. When these boys come out, they will take these boys as their workers. And in between that, we will tell them, you will take this boy as a workers, but they have to continue their study. So in between, they have 2 in 1. They will do study and they work. So we prepare them to be somebody outside. So we have to change their mindset. Before negative, now to be a positive. Okay, but the important thing is my recommendation is education. The education inside the prison and education outside prison, same. There's no changes. So the curriculum must be aligned as a global, okay, for the citizen. Okay, education system across Malaysia and also inside there must be same. We
Thank
don't
you.
differentiate. Not that he's a criminal or he's not a criminal. This is really important. The school, not enough time.
Yes, Adina, we might need to conclude here. I mean, it's fascinating, and to be honest, we could be speaking about this for hours, because it's, I mean, working in prison and also helping
I will cut short.
young people come out of prison. But we can continue the discussion, maybe later, if that's all right. And I will, because I would like to give a fair chance to everyone also to share their experience.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Adina, for sharing this. I think the insights coming from you, from someone who's been working directly in prison is, as I mentioned, is very unique. So now I would like to move to Neha again, and within the school that you're running, I know you've been pioneering this initiative called Yana. You are not alone, which involves students of the psychology department as peer educators. Can you tell us a little bit more about this and why did you initiate this within your school?
Yeah, thank you. And I'll be more than glad sharing about Yana, the project. Or rather, I won't call it a project, it's like my baby. So, it started long back, though I had never named it formally, because as a teacher, when you are there in school corridors, you'll have children approaching you in school lawns, in classrooms, in staff rooms, wherever you are. Children, if they find you approachable, they'll come to you, share their moments. Some of them will be happy, some of them won't be happy, smiling, brooding, and they want to share their struggles, their smiles, their dreams. But there are times they are not sure with whom to share. They are looking for a trusted adult, because somewhere their friends who are of their same age are not able to give them the suggestion, the support, the counseling that is required for them to manage those situations or to handle things which are putting them somewhere in a difficult point. So, as a teacher, I've always preferred teaching, connecting with children rather than teaching subjects. And it was always a very happy feeling to be able to lend them an ear, to guide them, to counsel them, and to increase this reach, because I was doing it whenever as possible, and children used to come with all sort of things that they wanted to share, even over phone calls. My phone number was always available to them, so they used to call me any time during the day or night. So then this was a group that I was teaching psychology in grade 11, and these girls, they came up with this idea that, ma'am, why don't we formalize this initiative and kind of decide for an email ID or a WhatsApp number where everybody can connect whenever they want to, and they don't want to, don't have to wait to meet you in person. So I like the idea, and that's how Yana was formally born. Now, in Yana, we have allowed children to reach out to me anytime, 24 into 7 as school principal. We roped in our school counselor also, who was more than willing to participate in this. So she also can be reached through an email ID and a phone number that we have decided. We shared posters across the school. We placed one poster with this email ID and with phone number in every classroom, in all common places, at all common places, in staff rooms, everywhere possible, so that children, if they want to contact, they can come, they can reach out, and then they can share. My promise to them was that within 24 hours, I'll be responding to your emails, or if you have sent me a message. And in case you are in crisis, something which needs urgent attention, you can come to me straight away directly over a phone call. And it helped a lot. So many heartwarming instances have happened, which I felt that, oh my God, thankfully, I could provide support at the right moment, and things got better. So, of course, as we have been asked not to kind of surpass the time limit, I won't be sharing about them right away. But yes, in case anyone is interested, you can email me and we can take this further. So, what I very strongly feel is why Yana is what I would like to share, that we as teachers, we have to make sure that we are not there just to teach children reading, writing, arithmetic. Every true educator would wish the children to be resilient, to be passionate, ready to take risk, problem solving, critical thinking, so that they are able to lead a more balanced life. And they have to enjoy life, they have to feel happy about being alive. They should not be feeling bad about the world around them. So what we can do is, first, we don't have to interfere in everything that they are doing. Challenges are normal part of their lives, and we have to allow them to cope with them themselves, and we have to let them sort out their problems, fight their own battles before we step in. We have to be there, we have to be there in a supporting role, but at the same time we also have to allow them to take their challenges themselves. Also, as teachers, we should not be offloading our emotional baggage, our good, bad, ugly experiences on them. Life might have been difficult for us, but then we don't have to it doesn't give us a passport to be indifferent towards the children. We have to be nice to them. Until unless we are nice to them, we are empathetic, we are compassionate towards them, we are non-judgmental, we are unbiased, they'll not be able to feel that thing, that fine, the world around us is nice, we are in a safe world, we have good things around us that we can feel happy about. So Yana has really helped me connect even more, even better with the children, and I feel that this is something every school, at least if not the principal, can take it up. It should be taken up by at least some teachers in the school, and there should be peer educators also, like my girls helped me in reaching out to children, that fine, you can reach out to ma'am. So something like this, a system like this, where there's an openness, where there's a trust, and the connect is there. So something like this, I think, should be there, and I'm glad that at least I'm doing my bit.
Thank you so much, Neha. I think you said it right. I think systems that promote openness and trust are very fundamental, and something that all schools should be considering to promote equally across the world. If I may, I think now we have. I'd like to turn to Dina. Dina, you mentioned already some of the work you're doing in the foundation. I just want you to maybe give us a concrete example of the type of change in behavior that can be achieved when you grow children and youth into global citizens. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Elodie. Yes, well, if possible, I would love to share some slides. And I know it will take a few seconds, but I can start. Hopefully we are able to see the slides. Let me know if you can see them. What we do with our framework, which is use the power of active play to translate very abstract concepts like the Sustainable Development Goals from the UN, together with civic values like the ones that my colleagues have been emphasizing: empathy and teamwork, respect, responsibility, fair play, gender equality, to be able to build these better global citizens. So building a culture of peace to prevent crime is actually a process of every day. How do you build it? We have heard some amazing examples, and we have used this framework that I'm sharing, the play, reflect, and take action, to be able to feel loved as children, as youth, to feel useful, to see their progress, to be able to put themselves in the shoes of others, and to reach agreements from this place, to think with the other and become change agents. So, very importantly, the common denominator of the play, reflect, and take action within the methodology are the social emotional learning skills. And for example, within the framework of education for sharing, we have several programs for sharing: sports, initiatives, science, finance, art, digital citizenship. social emotional workshop. And each one of these components has a project management aspect where children learn how to bring about the changes. Next, please. Next, please. Thank you. So children learn about when they play, they learn firsthand why do they care and how is this that they are learning related to themselves. And then we ask them to form a circle of reflection to come up with their own conclusions. And then you will have someone like Ramon that you see in the photo. Ramon is a 7-year-old boy from an indigenous community in the middle of the mountains. It's called Tlacuachistlahuaca, his home village. And he decided, after going through these games that have to do with the Sustainable Development Goals, that he wanted to become an agent of change, that all the garbage that he saw in his village, he could pick up, and he invited everyone to pick up the garbage with him. And this has a ripple effect where all the community also turns to see that they don't only have the path to fight with each other, because this is a particularly very violent community. And next, please. Or we have the example of Karim. He's 10 years old in a public school in an urban setting, surrounded by crime, violence, poverty. And he was also the shyest kid I've met. And he decided he would become super garbage. Next, please. He came up with a campaign, and he made even the papers. He decided together with his class. They voted on an initiative, and his initiative received most votes. So they started with his initiative, the super garbage, because they were recycling and showing the youngest kids at school how to join the campaign. Next, please. This is a very moving story from a public school in Mexico City, where a group of kids from 12 years old, they lived a lot of violence. They were joining gangs already, and they decided to, through the initiatives for sharing component, they decided to do a campaign through a rap of violence. They created the rap of violence. And this is a way that they found to express what they were going through and to turn it around and to really make a big shift, a really big shift where they could feel empowered. The parents of these kids most of the families have one parent in prison. And so this is a pattern that you can break, and that these children already broke, because they found a shift to the cycle of the pattern that they have been surrounded by. So it's how is my life changing from now on, knowing the rights and exercising their democracy, even from the voting that they did in their class to decide which initiative they were going to do. So this boy, the next slide please, decided that he found his vocation. He realized that he is a social fighter, and through this rap against violence, it really meant a lot for him and for the rest of his class. They discover themselves. They discover that they can do something in community with others. So it's an action that allows us to know that we can go forward and that we can choose differently. So this is some stories out of 1.3 million stories that I wanted to share from very different contexts, from the mountains in the indigenous community, from rural, urban settings. Play is for everyone.
Thank you so much, Gina. And I think these were very interesting stories. I mean, in terms of hearing, how do you break the path of violence that sometimes runs also within the family or the broader environment. So it's good to see actors like you doing very important work in the field. I would like now to turn to my colleague Marta briefly. We want to run a small poll with you. You've been a little bit shy, so we would like to make sure that you keep a few things and draw some lessons from this. Over to you, Marta.
Hi, and good morning or good evening, everyone, depending on which side of the world you're on. If you go to the side of the screen, you will see on the third tab something that looks like a graph. And we're going to start, we're going to do a quick poll. It's just some factual information and just to have a little bit of knowledge awareness. So right now, if you can answer the question according to the World Health Organization, how many homicides occur globally each year among children and youth between 10 and 25 years old? Please click on the answer, on the response that you think. Very quickly. Okay, so it seems that the majority, the numbers are changing a little bit. Let's give it just a couple more seconds. So the answer is actually 200,000, which actually makes it the fourth largest cause of death for young people at this age. So it's a significant amount. And the second question, we'll move to the second question, which is, of these that are listed below, what is actually not a fundamental human right? The choices are right to education, right to peaceful assembly, right to expression, right to equal access to private service, and right to privacy. Just give you a couple more seconds. Okay, it seems like everybody has answered right to equal access to private service, and that's absolutely right. The right is actually right to equal access to public service. The next question has to deal with the rule of law. As you know, our partnership with the UNODC is called Global Citizenship Education for the Rule of Law under their Education for Justice umbrella. So it's a good idea to know what the rule of law means. Is it that laws are fair, just, and public? Does it mean that nobody is above the law? That governments are actually held accountable? That the justice systems are equal and fair? Is it all of the above? Or all of the above except number 3, which are that governments are held accountable? Okay, so there seems to be some division on this. In fact, it is all of the above. So rule of law means all of the above, including holding governments accountable and ensuring that nobody, even the leader of the country, is above the law. And finally, this is a very important resolution, which is one that was adopted by the Security Council, Resolution 2250 on youth, peace, and security. And so we're asking you, what does it recognize the role of youth? Is it to initiate groups that counter violent extremism? Is it to be meaningfully engaged in making security decisions with their local governments? Is it recognizing youth as positive contributors to peace, justice, and reconciliation, and calling on national and local authorities to facilitate an enabling environment in which young actors from different social, political, economic, ethnic, and religious backgrounds can support prevention of violent extremism activities? Or is it recognizing the role of youth in helping vulnerable community members understand how to access justice systems? going to give you about 2 seconds left. And the resolution is actually the third one, so to be the positive contributors to peace, justice, and reconciliation. Thank you very much. That is our poll. Thank you for participating, and I will give the floor back to Elodie to introduce Marco, who will be giving our concluding remarks. Thank you very much.
That's right. Thank you so much, Marta. I think it was a good reality check to see how you've been following some of the discussion. But as you said, now I think it's the time for the final concluding remarks. And in fact, I'd like to give the floor to our colleague, Marco Texera from UNODC, who's a partner, as I mentioned, from the beginning of this in the context of the partnership that we have on education for justice as part of the Doha program. Mr. Texera is a senior program officer and also the coordinator of the global program for the implementation of the Doha Declaration at UNODC. He has extensive management experience. He's worked also in the police for many years before this. So long introduction short, Marco, the floor is yours for concluding this event. Thank you very much.
Many thanks, Elodie. It's my pleasure to be here, obviously, and to conclude this event that is being co-organized with our partners and colleagues from UNESCO in an important topic, basically transformative journeys of youth at risk. I would like to start by stressing how important and reassuring is to welcome once more the expertise of Education for Justice main partners, one of our main partners, UNESCO, and also the previous speakers, which I will use the opportunity also to greet and to appreciate your interesting comments and discussion that I just heard. The dedication towards the principles of the Declaration and common goals of strengthening education for rule of law is necessary in order to realize the decade of action in the post-pandemic world. UNESCO's efforts and our partnership is an indisputable key for the success of Education for Justice, E4J, its acronym, and by natural extension for the success of the global program for the implementation of the Declaration. I would like to thank naturally the State of Qatar for the strong policy support and funding that enable our program to be operational, and obviously enables us to transfer from a political declaration into concrete, tangible actions, materializing the aspirations of the international community that are actually reflected in the Doha Declaration. Basically, translating policy into programmatic, concrete results, and basically giving the global program through its Education for Justice initiative the capacity to partner with UNESCO and also to partner and to promote quality education to all of us, and more recently also to continue to deliver during the pandemic and the current situation. As you all agree that multilateral coordinated approach based on facts, evidence, and common objectives, today like never before, or even more today, is of fundamental importance in order to innovate the responses of the international community to the complexity of global programs brought to our attention in the past years, or in the past year more precisely, when the pandemic actually started to be more noticeable. We all must work together to address the digital divide that still hurts many children and youth worldwide. And finally, ensure a better access to quality education to all children and youth, especially those in a more vulnerable conditions and risk of victimization or being affected by crime. It is evident that we must work together to develop and enhance educational programs and projects aimed at building crime resilience for those same children and youth in order for them to become actors of positive change in their communities and ultimately of our future world leaders and obviously the torch bearers of sustainable development agenda. I'm sure that education professionals and those concerned ask the important question: how to identify, design and implement such programs. And in my answers and in our reflection, this can only be possible through a holistic multi-stakeholder approach that works closely with educational and justice sectors. By working with thousands of educators, academics, and students, Education for Justice and its partners have come up with a novel, creative, and sustainable ways to make teaching on the rule of law and specifically on SDG 16 related topics a priority for many educators with the aim to empower the next generation to become leaders, decision making, and citizens that need to address the challenges that the world is facing today. In particularly, UNODC has been closely working with UNESCO to engage with policymakers, teachers, educators, and youth in promoting strategies that support transformative global citizenship education to empower students to promote further peaceful societies. As I mentioned before, Education for Justice initiative could not have aimed alone at such unprecedented success in bridging the world of education with that of the world of crime prevention and criminal justice and the rule of law. Thanks to this one-of-a-kind partnership with UNESCO and the partnership that we call Global Citizenship Education for Rule of Law, doing the right thing, we have managed to help educational and education professionals in designing and implementing educational interventions that equip leaders with the knowledge, the skills and attitudes to constructively and responsibly engage in society. This includes uploading the principle of justice and helping build effective, accountable, and inclusive institutions at all levels. The multidimensional comprehensive connection between UNODC and UNESCO, even during the pandemic times, step up the coordinated work, and UNODC joined the UNESCO Global Education Coalition for COVID-19 response. And one of the innovative ways that we have done and mentioned, I think, today, was to engage youth to become change makers in their communities. And most likely, an example in Lebanon during the rehabilitation process of schools affected by, for instance, the explosions of August 2020. A few months prior to that, UNESCO and UNODC partnership organized a regional series of dialogues, giving youth a voice to build a fair and a better post-COVID-19 world. The dialogues focus on Central America, South Asia, and Europe, and obviously also Middle East and North Africa, and created an opportunity for change offered by the pandemic, also to discuss among young people, policymakers, educators, and representatives from educational and justice sectors how to engage and especially how to build back better. Dear friends, dear colleagues, this is just a few examples of great stories of this partnership between two important organizations. And we have obviously the privilege, and we have the privilege to work with UNESCO in a partnership to continue to promote rule of law and related education. Finally, I would like to reiterate my appreciation to our partners, UNESCO, and most importantly, also to the State of Qatar for making and giving Education for Justice initiative the trust to continue to work and try to mitigate the risks and reducing vulnerabilities based on education to counter also the violent narratives. So thank you very much. And of course, we are at your disposal to continue to work further with all of you. Elodie, back to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marco. And I think I just want to echo your words and saying that it has been a privilege really to work with you and ODC, with you and your team. I mean, Lulua, Gilberto, the others, and that I would like to thank. And also, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank my team, Marta, Benjamin, and last but not least, special thanks to Ismini, who was the secret hand in making this event happen. And maybe if you still can bear 2 more minutes, we'd like to take a group picture with the speakers, and so we can have a memory and go back to our respective countries and continue our days. So please turn on your camera. And then I will let maybe Ismini, if you want to do, or Marta do the countdown, so everybody can be ready.
Yes, I do not see the videos. Do all the speakers, have they turned on their camera, please? We're still missing Nelson, I believe.
I think his connection is quite low, so I'm not sure.
I think I don't have the video turning on the tab. So I'm only seeing sharing.
No, unfortunately, it's not working. Actually, I do not have a vision of everyone. I don't know if now you can help us with this.
If not, I mean, it's fine. I mean, just
Not working, unfortunately.
yeah, let's just do our best. But in the meantime, I mean, let me thank all the speakers. I think you brought really a variety of perspectives from all parts of the world. Very fascinating experiences. I've personally learned a lot during this session, and also the attendees, of course, for joining the discussion. So, Ismini, we're good.
Yes.
All right. So thank you, everyone, and wish you a great day. Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much, and arigato for those who are in Kyoto already.
Bye-bye. Thank
Bye, Marco.
Bye all.
Thank you.
Thank
Merci.
you. Neha,
Gracias.
Dina,
Arigato.
arigato.